We got us pumpkin beer. Guys, you know, it's that time of year and everything. So this is Red Racer's Pumpkin Ale. 5% alcohol by volume in a 650 bomber. It's from Surrey, British Columbia, and it's brewed with pumpkin and spices. So water, malted barley, hops, yeast, pumpkin, and spices. So no adjuncts apparently. There's the label. It's the same red-headed chick on the bike there, as always. And so these guys have won Brewery of the Year in 2010 and 2012 from Canadian Brewing Awards. And I'm guessing that's probably for their Red Racer IPA. Which is pretty good. I wasn't a huge fan of their pale ale. It wasn't horrible, but their IPA is pretty solid, and a lot of people really like that beer. So mega smoke off of this. Mega smoke. Oh, it smells like it's going to be pretty good. Okay. So that's the color we want in our pumpkin beers, I'm assuming. It's the color I want and what a lot of people want. It's not the dark one. And there's actually pumpkin in this brew. And it smells pretty good. Yeah, it smells fabulous, actually. Let's take another look at that. That's an awesome looking beer. Okay, yeah, beautiful. Getting typical pumpkin pie type stuff here. There's a little bit, I'm not an authority on what spices go into the pumpkin pie spice concoction. But there's one that's definitely a little bit pronounced in here. There's a headshot there. And let's have a drink here. On the side of it, the bubbles are kind of big on the side, but it's looking IPA-ish. We got some moon craters and stuff, so. Yeah, there's just one spice that's kind of edgy that kind of jumps out of there. Wow. Yeah, this one's really good, actually. I did a pumpkin beer just the other night. It was the Post Road Pumpkin Ale from Brooklyn Brand, and I've also done Elijah's Night Owl Pumpkin Ale. So if you're interested in those ones, I've done those this fall. And I'd say this one's coming in second, behind Elijah, a close second, and Post Road in third. So, I'll try to maybe get one more pumpkin beer in here before Halloween. If I see one worth getting, I'd like to try the pumpkin. And I saw that. I'll see if the Wine Cavern's still packing that one. This one's a little bit runny. Like the body is quite thin in this. A lot like the Post Road was quite thin as well. It's actually extremely drinkable. There is pumpkin. I am getting actual pumpkin out of the beer. The spices aren't. They're a little bit more forward in the spices, but it's still pretty good. It's extremely drinkable, so I can see why a lot of people would like this. And I am getting the pumpkin pie and all that, and it is kind of creamy and rich a little bit, but again, I would expect something a little bit more heavy-bodied for something like this, but it's apparently not so. So far, Post Road and this one are both quite thin-bodied, which just kind of blew my mind. I wouldn't think a pumpkin beer would be a thin-bodied beer, but I guess it can be. So that head kind of dissipated really fast and had kind of big bubbles on the side. Like the top looked really good. But yeah, it's it's lacing a bit and stuff, but the head doesn't seem to be performing as well as I would think. And getting a little bit of a kind of a strange tangy clash in the middle here. But all in all, I would say this is probably a pretty damn solid pumpkin beer. So there's a lot of word on the street about disappointments in pumpkin beers, I guess. So be happy with what you get. If it's pretty half decent, consider yourself lucky, I guess, with it when it comes to these pumpkin beers. So it's a lot of hype around the pumpkin beer is the consensus, I think. But you know, now that I'm kind of drinking a bit of it, I'm really starting to like it because it's for whatever reason it's kind of degassing a little bit. I'm just getting used to the flavor. I had some pumpkin pie earlier today, just covered in pecan crumble, and it was like super sweet. So maybe I'll review that pie later. It was the most badass pumpkin pie I've ever had in my life, because you know, pumpkin pie is usually not like super sweet, right? This has like the pecan on top and just sugared right up. It was pretty awesome. I don't like her sweet stuff that much, but that was pretty good. Yeah, I'm really starting to get a little bit more of the pumpkin now later on here. As like I said, gassing, getting used to the flavor and stuff. It's quite an enjoyable beer. Like from Red Racer, I thought it would be a little bit more how do I say insane, because their Red Racer IPA is pretty heavy shit, and that's why so many people like it. Like it's an intense IPA. It's pretty well done. Let's say that. So, and this one's well done too. It's just not to that caliber. It's a little bit weak, maybe. You know, I was expecting something a little bit more rich and full. So we topped her up again there, and that's that whole bomber gone. Yeah. Well, that'd be a nice one to use in homebrew. I've been saving bombers for homebrew, obviously, because I fucking hate bottling. But I do have my kegerator half built, and I'm gonna try to get my shit together and get that thing functional, hopefully in November here. So, and we'll hook that son of a bitch up. It's an R2D2 kegerator. It works. The refrigeration system works in it. I just need to patch it up with some paper mache and spray foam, and get my keg. Actually, just get my CO2 and my lines hooked up for my keg, and I'm excited about not having a bottle. At least one keg for now. It'd be nice to have a keg on hand at all times, full of the most gnarly brew I've concocted at the time. And also work as cold storage for the rest of my beers. It was not an easy kegerator build. It was extremely difficult to turn an R2D2 into a refrigerator. Yeah, it's probably pretty damn good for a pumpkin beer, I'm gonna say. A little thin bodied, a little light for me. I would give this well, it's about an 8.5 out of 11 or something like that for me. You might call it, if the head performed a little bit better and stuff, it would be more like a 9.5. But I'm seeing it. It's like, considering how much was there, it seems to be dropping down pretty fast. It is lacing and stuff. Could be a little bit richer, a little creamier, and a little bit more full. But if you want a very drinkable pumpkin beer, I would go to this one because it's extremely easy drinking. I mean, this bomber will be gone in a couple minutes here, and a 650 ml, I could drink way too much of this stuff. Like I said, it is only 5%. You know what I mean? So you can drink a couple of these bombers, and you'll be like still in pretty good shape, I would imagine, depending on what your alcohol tolerance is. But I'm not feeling anything off this yet. So I imagine I'll down this whole bomber, and I didn't think I'd get around to reviewing another beer after this, but I think I will be able to. I don't like to drink too much, but this isn't really that strong of a bomber, so I might do another 350 ml tonight, and that'll be it for me. But yeah, I'd say it's a 8.5. Be a pretty fair rate here, and definitely check out Red Racer's IPA. And whatever, you probably already tried it. Whatever, Beerzerker. And I'm out. Yeah.